Okay, so good morning everyone to my Bachelor of Public Administration students, second year. Welcome to our very first pre-recorded video discussion for the subject Administrative Law. Okay, so the last time we conducted our first online orientation via Google Meet and I discussed the overview of the subject as well as the modality that we are going to use. Okay, so regarding or relative to the administrative law, since this is one of the very first major subject that you are going to take, or the very first major subject that you are enrolled in, I hope that you already have an existing knowledge when it comes to the public administration in general, especially in the Philippine setting. Okay, so before we proceed with the formal discussion of the administrative law, let me give you some few reminders. First and foremost, since this is a pre-recorded video discussion, in order for you to understand fully our lessons, I uh, I encourage you to rewatch again or to rewatch our video discussions from time to time so that you won't forget our lessons since this is a very technical subject. Okay, so let us start first with an introductory situationer. So I'm sure that most of you, if you are watching televisions, if you are browsing the Facebook and any other social media, you are familiar with these issues. This is a very recent one and a very controversial one. So the COA stands for the Commission on Audit has published their findings, the findings of their audit on the administrative agencies of the government, especially on the executive departments. So as we can see from the screen, the first and the most controversial one is when the COA flags the DOH for deficiencies in management of over 67 billion pandemic funds. Okay, not only the DOH, but it has been one of the most controversial simply because the DOH is in the forefront, is in the uh, the first or the primary agency that is handling the pandemic, and they have been given a large amount of funds from the previous general appropriations so that we can procure vaccines and other related services in order to solve or lessen the effects of the pandemic. Okay, also not only the DOH, of course, the COA flags the office of the president for 1.4 billion idle funds. The Philippine National Police also was flagged by COA over failure to terminate the 1.69 billion deals despite delayed deliveries. Also, the Clark Development Corporation over unauthorized use of housing units by board members, and the Department of Social Welfare Development, the primary agency that distributes the ayuda funds for all those affected in the enhanced community quarantine areas. Unutilized 780 million intended for pandemic ayuda. And also, the local government, the Davao City, was flagged for 9.489 billion assets. The Department of Transportation, the PCOO or Communication Office, the LTFRB, the Office of the Solicitor General, the AFP, the PCSO, and then the NAPOLCOM. So these are just some of the administrative agencies or the department under the executive department that was flagged by COA for having deficiencies in their utilizations of funds or budgets, as well as any deficiencies in the practices that they have, especially with monetary value. On the other hand, the COA also publish a certain audit findings for those who have unqualified opinions or those who have been very good when it comes to the liquidation of their funds and budget, such as the Office of the Vice President under the Vice President Lenny Robredo. So why do we need to give this as an example for the administrative law? So basically, in general, that's just like what I've told you before. The administrative law is mainly focuses on the rules and regulations that are being implemented and created or formulated by administrative agencies or departments under the executive branch of the government. And those departments that I have mentioned earlier that the COA flagged for deficiencies in management are actually findings wherein we can safely say that in the conduct of their practices, in the conduct of their functions, they have somehow probably have na hindi masyadong naging maayos yung kanilang pagtatrabaho. They have somehow have mismanaged their own agencies. And in administrative law, we are going to study these particular laws that will limit the abuse of these particular powers that the administrative agencies are functioning or employing. So mapag-aaralan natin sa administrative law yung mga limitations sa power ng mga administrative agencies and how these administrative agencies formulate implementing rules and regulations to specify certain laws that are very beneficial for the agency specifically or for the people or for the public that the agency is serving, such as, of course, we the Filipino people. Okay, so that's the essence of studying or the relevance of studying administrative law. Balang araw, pag kayo na ang nasa administrative agencies, pag kayo na ang nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno, then basically you're going to perform a certain function na i-audit rin or i-check or i-evaluate hindi lamang ng boss mo kundi ng mga external auditor. At dito sa administrative law natin matututunan ang mga limitations na yon at yung mga regulations patungkol doon sa practices na ginagawa natin sa loob ng administrative agencies. Okay? So the first lesson is the general principles of the administrative law. The topics that we are going to discuss or to learn in this particular lesson is the definition of admin law. We are going to review the government of the Republic of the Philippines, although you are already familiar with this one, with your Philippine Constitution subject. What are the kinds of admin law, the scope of admin law, and the sources of admin law? Okay? So for the overview again of the administrative law regarding its definition, it is the body of law created by the agencies and departments of the government which carry out the laws passed by Congress or a state legislature. So hinighlight ko dito yung particular section kung saan admin law is a law created by the agencies and departments of the government. Kung babalikan natin ang three branches of the government, maaalala natin na the branch that is primarily responsible for creating and formulating laws are the legislative or is the legislative department. But under the executive department, there are certain agencies or these agencies and departments also exercises quasi-legislative and quasi-judicial functions. And one of these quasi-legislative functions is the creations of law that is responsible for carrying out the functions and processes of that particular agencies. So itong mga departments na to na nabanggit ko kanina, yung mga agencies na nabanggit ko kanina, they also create law. Kaya lang itong mga law na kinikreate ng mga agencies and departments na ito lamang ay yung mga tinatawag nating rules and regulations or implementing rules and regulations na kung saan nakaangkla ito sa mga batas na pinapasa naman ng Kongreso or ng lehislatura. Later on sa discussion natin, i-differentiate ko yung pagkakaiba ng mga batas na kinikreate ng mga agency at bakit kailangan ito ay hindi in conflict at ito dapat ay nakaangkla doon sa mga batas na pinapasa ng Congress or ng legislature. The admin law also includes all laws and policies that regulate or control the administrative organization and operations of the government. Gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, these are particular rules and regulations that sets out the policies pertaining to the operations and practices of the government. So isa sa mga example nito ay yung the Social Security Administration sa US, sa Pilipinas naman ay the Social Security System, wherein this agency created to implement the Congress or the country or the state social security and disability laws. Ang mga nagtatrabaho sa private practices, yung Social Security System or the SSS, sila yung nag-create ng mga laws, ng mga rules and regulations patungkol doon sa mga beneficiaries ng Social Security System. Sa mga public practitioners naman, sa mga nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno, then that is the government service insurance system. So itong mga administrative agency na to, they are the one who processes the benefits, who are eligible for the benefits, passes rules and regulations to ensure na yung mga taong karapat-dapat lamang ang makareceive ng mga benepisyo ng SSS at saka ng GSIS. Okay? So let's say pero itong mga kinikreate ng mga batas and rules and regulations ng agency na to, gaya na nabanggit ko na SSS at ng GSIS, hindi ito pwede kung walang pinagkunan na batas na ipinasa ng Kongreso. So the Congress, which is composed of two parts, the House of Representatives and then the Senate, when they pass law that pertains to a certain benefit, so ito namang Social Security System at saka yung GSIS ang gagawa ng panuntunan na kung saan nakaangkla doon sa may ipinasa ng Kongreso para lamang maklarify yung mga provisions ng batas na yon. So let's say for example, ang Kongreso ay nagpasa ng isang batas patungkol sa mga benefits ng mga PWDs or person with disabilities. Okay, so general law yon. General law na ang makikinabang ay lahat ng sakop ng batas at ang nabanggit doon ay mga PWD. Ang Social Security System ay gagawa ng sariling rules and regulations na nakaangkla or align doon sa batas na pinasa ng Kongreso para naman sa mga beneficiaries nila sa private sector, doon sa mga nagtatrabaho sa mga private companies and businesses. Ang GSIS naman ay gagawa ng implementing rules and regulations or gagawa sila ng mga circulars patungkol naman doon sa mga PWDs na makakatanggap ng benefits na nagtatrabaho naman sa gobyerno. So yun ang pinagkaiba. The Congress first has to pass a law kasi sa kanila naman talaga nanggagaling ang mga national at mga general laws. Ang mga administrative agencies ang magkikreate ng mga administrative laws or mga rules and regulations na nakaangkla doon sa tinatawag nating national laws na ipinasa ng Kongreso. So dapat malinaw sa inyo ang pagkakaiba na ito ng trabaho ng Congress at sa pagpapractice ng quasi-legislative and quasi-judicial function of the administrative agency. So is administrative law a general or specific law? Pwedeng pareho. Pag sinabi natin general administrative law, it is which is common to all or to many different types of administrative agencies. Ito yung mga batas na kung saan nag-a-apply hindi lamang sa isang administrative agency kundi sa mga maramihan. So let's say for example, nagpasa ng batas ng Kongreso na may kinalaman sa Reproductive Health Bill or Reproductive Health Law. Itong Reproductive Health Law ay hindi lamang concern dito ang Department of Health. Maraming agency ang posibleng mabigyan ng batas na yon. Again, dapat nakasaad sa batas na yon ang mga primary agency na mag-i-implement ng batas. Pero hindi lamang mga primary agency, kundi yung mga related agency din na gagawa ng mga rules and regulations para ma-implement at ma-specify ang provisions ng batas na yon. So going back to the reproductive health law, so hindi lamang reproductive health law, hindi lamang Department of Health ang primary concern dito. Probably sila mag-i-implement ng batas, sila mag-monitor at mag-i-evaluate ng implementation ng reproductive health law. Ngunit may mga administrative agencies rin or executive departments na kung saan gagawa din ng mga rules and regulations na sila ang concern doon sa reproductive health law na iyon. Kung may kinalaman yan sa pera, then it would be the Department of Budget and Management, the Department of Finance. Kung itong reproductive health law ay nangangailangan or magre-require ng information dissemination and education to the people, then it would be the DepEd and then the Commission on Higher Education na kung saan gagawa sila ng mga circulars, gagawa sila ng rules and regulations or tutulong sila sa gagawing IRR na kung saan ang reproductive health law ay dapat na isasama sa curriculum, na isasama sa mga subjects, sa mga lessons. So hindi lamang iisang agency or executive departments normally ang gumagawa ng rules and regulations. So itong tinatawag natin na general administrative law because it is common or it applies to different types of administrative agencies. Excuse me. Special administrative law naman is the opposite of the general administrative law. It is provided for and derived for the activity of a particular administrative agency. So ito yung mga rules and regulations na kung saan particular lamang or mag-a-apply lamang doon sa isang administrative agency. So let's say for example, ang Social Security System ay may gagawing rules and regulation na kung saan or merong isang batas na ipapasa na kung saan makakaapekto lamang sa kanilang employees, makakaapekto lamang sa kanilang mga opisyales, or let's say for example, benefits ng mga opisyales nila kasi malaki ang benefits ng SSS at ng GSIS officials. Okay? So kung yun lamang ay makakaapekto sa kanila internally, then it is what we call the special administrative law. Hindi siya nag-a-apply sa anumang agency na kung saan hindi related doon sa AA na binanggit natin. AA stands for Administrative Agency. So yun yung general overview ng tinatawag natin na administrative law. So para mas maintindihan natin, babalikan natin ang pinaka-structure ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas. Okay? So you're already familiar with this one. Let's just go into review. The Philippines is a republic with a presidential form of government as stated in the 1987 Philippine Constitution, wherein the power is equally divided into the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. But most importantly, according to the Section 1, Article 2 of the 1987 Constitution, sovereignty resides in the people and all government authority emanated from them. Baka siya tinawag na equally divided because wala doon sa tatlong nabanggit na branches ang mas mataas o may mas malakas na kapangyarihan sa isa't isa. Binigyan sila ng tinatawag na system of checks and balance na kung saan ang isang branch ay may kapangyarihan na i-evaluate, i-monitor ang actions ng isa for the best interest of the citizen. Okay, alam niyo naman 'yan na hindi absolute ang power ng executive kahit pa ikaw ay presidente, ng legislative kahit kayo pa ay mga senators or mga congressperson, at lalong-lalo na ng judicial kahit ikaw pa ay isang Supreme Court Chief Justice. May mga operations, may mga functions ang executive na kailangang i-check ng judiciary for its legitimacy. Ang mga batas na pinapasa ng legislative ay kailangan i-approve ng presidente para maging isang batas, etc. etc. So merong systems of check and balance. Okay? Alam niyo na ito, the Senate is composed of 24 senators. The House of Representatives is composed of about 250 members. Meron tayong party list representative which constitutes 20% of the total number of the representatives in the House of Representatives. Example ng mga party list representatives natin ay ang Bayan Muna, Nakbayan. So ito yung mga nagre-represent sa mga marginalized sector ng ating society. House of Representatives naman ay mga congressperson na kung saan sila ay mga representative ng mga districts or ng mga provinces ng mga cities. Okay? Executive branch naman is composed of the president and then the vice president. Under the president are the cabinet and the executive departments and independent agencies, board commissions, and then the committee. So the president leads the country, of course, the highest position in the government. Okay? The judicial branch naman interprets the meaning of laws, applies laws to individual cases, and decides if laws violate the Constitution. Binubuo ito ng Supreme Court Chief Justice, and then mga lower courts, gaya ng mga regional trial courts, municipal trial courts, mga Sharia courts. Okay? So yun ang trabaho naman ng judicial branch. Interpret the meaning of laws. Paano tayo nagkakaroon ulit ng systems of check and balance? So yung mga batas na pinapasa ng Congress or ng Legislative Department can be vetoed by the President. So hindi absolute ang mga batas na gagawin ng Legislative Department. The Congress naman, on the other hand, can confirm or reject the President's appointment and can remove the President from office in exceptional circumstances sa pamamagitan ng ano na nga tawag dito, nakalimutan ko na. Sa pamamagitan ng sa pamamagitan ng impeachment. Okay? So the appointments of the secretaries or heads of the executive departments and administrative agencies, dumadaan yan sa Commission on Appointments na kung saan ang mga members normally ay manggagaling sa Legislative Department. Okay? Isang magandang example ng exercise ng checks and balance nung appointment ni Ms. Gina Lopez as Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. It was disapproved by the Commission on Appointments, and the members are the Legislative Department or the Senators and the House of Representatives, Congresspersons. Okay? The Justices of the Supreme Court, they can also overturn unconstitutional laws and are appointed by the President. So basically, lahat ng mga batas na ginagawa ng Congress, kahit aprubahan pa ng President, if the judiciary deemed it unconstitutional, then hindi pwede maging batas ang isang batas. It will not be legitimate. Okay? So these are some of the terms na kailangan nating malaman patungkol sa Republic of the Philippines. Kindly review na lang sa inyong module. Balikan ninyo at basahin ninyo. But then again, these are common terms naman na na-encounter nyo na sa inyong mga major subject. Okay? So for the last topic for this pre-recorded video discussion, the kinds of administrative regulations. So pag sinabi nating administrative regulations, so these are the rules and regulations created by administrative agencies or ng mga executive departments pag may napasang batas na ang Kongreso. Okay? So once na naipasa na ang Kongreso, ang mga batas na ito, merong ilang araw lamang ang mga primary administrative agency para mag-create ng implementing rules and regulations. So para mas maintindihan ninyo ang tinatawag na IRR or implementing rules and regulations, kumaga ang isang batas ay 6 pages lamang na ipinasa ng Kongreso. Marami sa mga batas na yon ang medyo broad, marami sa mga batas na yon ang hindi nakaspecify ang sanctions, ang budgetary requirements, ang provisions. So gagawa ng separate document ang mga administrative agency na kung saan merong may primary responsibility na i-implement yon. Doon sa implementing rules and regulations na yon, kinaklarify doon lahat ng mga hindi maintindihan o hindi malinaw doon sa general law. Okay? So doon na nakaspecify yung mga specific na tao or na posisyon na probably responsible para sa implementation ng batas na yon, specific sanction and punishment para sa mga mag-violate ng batas na iyon, specific budgetary requirements para ma-implement at mabigyan ng pondo ang batas na iyon. So doon yung nakalagay sa implementing rules and regulations. May dalawang nature ang implementing rules and regulations or administrative regulation. Number one is legislative. Pag sinabi natin legislative, kung ano yung kulang sa batas, fini-fill in lang doon sa IRR. Pero sinisiguro naman ng IRR na hindi siya in conflict doon sa General Law or sa Republic Act or sa National Law. Pag hindi malinaw na sinabi doon sa may batas, ang let's say for example ang sanction, fini-fill in yun or nagbibigay ng examples or in-specify ng implementing rules and regulation. Pero yung kanyang mga specifics doon, yung mga binibigay niyang additional information ay hindi in conflict naman doon sa National Law. Okay, so let's say for example, sa Republic Act or sa National Law, sinasabi doon na ang mga opisyales ng isang ahensya, ang mga opisyales ng isang ahensya ay hindi dapat sumali sa mga unions or sa mga public sector unions or mga association ng mga employees. Okay? So nabanggit dun sa batas na hindi pwedeng sumali ang mga opisyal. Doon sa IRR, pwedeng i-specify kung sino, okay? Kung sino-sino yung mga opisyalis na yun specifically ang hindi pwedeng sumali sa public sector unions or sa mga associations ng mga employees. So ini-specify nila yung mga kulang at medyo malabo ay nilalagay at ini-specify sa IRR. Meron din namang judicial. Pag sinabi namang judicial, ini-interpret nito yung mga malalalim na salita or mga malalalim na terms or medyo technical na terms doon sa law or sa national law or sa Republic Act. Kasi there are tendencies na kung saan ang mga Republic Acts or mga batas ay medyo technical na hindi maintindihan ng mga normal na empleyado ng isang administrative agency or ng mga tao na makikinabang doon sa implementation ng batas. So, the IRR may interpret certain provisions of that particular law na kung saan ang gagamiting language ay mas maintindihan ng mga magbabasa ng batas na iyon. Okay, so yun yung nature ng administrative regulations. Uulitin ko lamang, law first has to be passed by the Congress. Kailangan meron munang batas at ang mga batas na ito ay kailangan gawa ng IRR, ng administrative agency, para lahat ng mga ambiguities ng batas na yon ay mailinaw doon sa implementing rules and regulations. Ang gumagawa ng implementing rules and regulations ay yung administrative agency na primary responsible sa implementation ng tinatawag natin na national law or ng Republic Acts. So, yun lamang po ang ating discussion for the first lesson of administrative law, and we're going to continue with the rest of the topics on our next pre-recorded video discussion. Thank you so much for listening.